You can start Junaid, Arya, and Soumya.
So, a very good evening, everyone. I, Arya Tupe, welcome you all to yet another Sustain Talks by Sustain and Save. Sustain and Save is a one stop solution on sustainability created by Indians for the world. We at Sustain and Save believe in creating corporate impact by bridging the gap and connecting green product and service companies in India across the world. We believe to move towards reverse logistics, focusing on ways to be used in a better way. Our knowledge and resource inspiration focuses on social impact, including various sustainable initiatives and inspiring stories. Using our 3R principle, that is renovate, redefine, and being responsible, we aim to achieve affordable sustainability and circular economy. This initiative was started by Shroff Sisters on 22nd April, that is by Pranati and Ankita Shroff, who are both entrepreneurs and have completed their diploma from Swedish Institute in Responsible Leadership and Sustainable Businesses. Today we have a team of 400 plus young change makers from all across India, Singapore, UK, and United States of America. In the last 6 months, we have collaborated with various companies and government organizations through our e-panel discussions and awareness programs. We have collaborated with companies like IKEA, Swedish government, IGBC, and have onboarded about 50 plus companies in sustainability as a channel partners and 5 plus educational institutions. In the month of June and July, we focused on green products and services respectively. In August, we have had ideators like Rajiv Kher for sanitation and Shubhendu Sharma for urban forests. The month of September was dedicated to understanding water management and coming up with innovative solutions to address the same. In October, we collaborated with Roor for a design challenge to upscale Tetra Packs to make innovative products out of it. In the month of November, we focused for plastic segregation and we were successful to collect and recycle 8 tons of plastic from the city. Working on a sustainability technology app, we have so far calculated 35,000 liters of water saved, 82 kgs of waste segregated at source, and 1,722 kgs of CO2 emissions saved. Also, for the month of December, we are focusing on sustainable fashion. Today's interview session will be taken over by our change maker, Sheikh Mohammed Zunain. He is pursuing his final year for civil engineering at St. Joseph Engineering College and has been working with us since September. He is a tech enthusiast and nature lover. According to him, small steps taken with great interest can bring about magical changes around you. So now, over to you, Zunain.
Yeah, thank you, Arya. So today we have with us our wonderful speaker, Ms. Soumya Kalluri, who has put a massive step towards a sustainable India with her upcycling fashion ideas. So Soumya Kalluri ma'am is a mechanical engineer with master degree in commercial vehicle technology from Germany. So she has worked as a researcher at Godrej Innovation and Design Center, focusing on material analysis and cataloging of industrial waste. So we can see Soumya ma'am has a earth saver, trying her best to save the old jeans and other waste textiles that would otherwise end up in a landfill. So her brand Dwij manufactures and promotes lifestyle products made from upcycle post-consumer garments and post-industrial garment waste. Dwij means second life, and this brand indeed rescues the jeans that would otherwise now be end up in a landfill and give them a second life. So till date, Dwij has upcycled more than 400 pairs of jeans and 1,800 meter of post-industrial denim, and that's a great news, ma'am. Welcome on board, Soumya, ma'am.
Thank you for the introduction, Sunil.
Okay, so I believe that there is always one incident that triggers a person to take up a positive step and bring out a change in their surroundings. So here is my first question of the day. What made you drop your previous role as a researcher and start Dwij? And is there any story behind this?
Yes. So begin with, like, in I as you mentioned, I did my master's from Germany, And while I was doing my master thesis, I was working on the life cycle assessment of different big agricultural machineries and stuff like that. So when I was going through a lot of data and carbon emissions through these machines, I started realizing how much carbon emission each thing has. And then there was a curiosity to understand more about my own carbon footprint. And then as I started researching more about it and knowing more about it, I started realizing we have really, really massive footprint, and we can, as a person, can make a lot of changes. So my baby steps towards which started as a self exploration, first of all, making certain changes in my own lifestyle. So for example, when I came back to India and I started like we wanted to shift, and we wanted to plan like how our home should look like. So we decided we won't have any kind of major appliances at home, like we don't own a refrigerator or a TV or anything like that. And also having more of public transport and like using less. So all this philosophy, when intertwined, like it became my DNA, I felt like real urge to do something at a larger scale. So yeah, interesting thing is like fashion is not my area, but I realized like maybe 3 years back when I was researching a lot, I found very few startups who were addressing the like say for example denim waste or fabric waste. So I thought that there is a better opportunity, and it was like just an exploration. So there was not a single incident that triggered, but it was like a lot of changes that happened in me.
Okay, that's great, ma'am. And I think the curiosity which was in you made this brand a better one, right? Coming out. So on to the next question. So you said about the Dwitch starting stage, how it came. So I would like to know more about the brand Dwitch. And also, according to you, what are the key things that a brand is said to be a sustainable one?
Yeah, so this is a very a big umbrella type of question. Like you have to have so many things fit into something to call as sustainable. So I think for every sustainability brand, there might be some like very, very important goals which they cannot compromise on. So for us to begin with, of course, when it comes to sustainability, people are very important. So we have fair wages, for example, our employees are treated well, and all those things fall under that. And then when it comes to saving the environment, it's not just about saving the denim, but also every last bit of it when it comes to our workshop. So basically, what we do is we collect old denim from different second-hand markets or chindi bazaars, and also from manufacturing hubs where they have their cutouts left out cutouts, or leftover fabric, defective fabrics, and then they all are washed, and then it comes to our workshop where we upcycle them into products. So as a brand, we have always focused on quality, which reflects in our products, where though it is upcycled, you'll see a finish that looks at par with virgin material. And also we use very good quality zippers, like YKK brand. And also it is like, after you have made so much of effort to get together all these things, it's very important that the product's life lasts for longer time. So that's the bigger motive for us.
Yes, ma'am. That's great. And I think whenever you bring out a change in the society, there is one or the other problem you might have faced. So the next question is, what are the challenges you faced through the journey of Dwitch?
Yeah, I think I would say the major challenge that I faced was to bring my sourcing right, to bring the supply chain right. So since our entire supply chain depends on one or the other kind of waste, so you have to be very aggressive in approaching maybe manufacturing units, or like to go repetitively to the bazaars or second-hand markets to get hold of this material. So like the biggest challenge is the sourcing, I would say. Then second is like, even for marketing, not many people are comfortable using upcycled stuff, but it is changing slowly. They might be upcycling their own thing, which everybody would be comfortable with, but using somebody else's material would be a little bit of difficult thing. So when our products are made, each piece is different because every material that we get is different. So marketing online also becomes a challenge because you cannot necessarily show every product that you manufacture. So while buying, you might see a product and you might receive a product. While this also actually is a good added point that everyone is getting a different one of its type thing, right? So I think there are a lot of challenges, but I would pick up this three as my major challenges.
Yeah, ma'am. And it's always a normal, like when we start any step towards a positive way, we face many problems and many challenges. And also like the hard work and our planning will always pay off, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
coming on to the consumer perspective, what are the easiest way that we can all be more sustainable in our approach of towards fashion?
Yeah, I think I have to go back to the classic 3R formula: reuse, reduce,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say recycle, but put it in a better use kind of thing. So, I personally, when I was doing a lot of research for my lifestyle changes, I think awareness, for example, is very, very important. But awareness comes only when you start taking efforts to research more. And then once you research, you have like really clear idea of what are your top priorities. For someone, fair wages is a very important priority when it comes to sustainability. For someone, they might think that only recycled product is something that they would look for. For someone, they might think that I'm not going to have anything plastic. So it really depends what kind of person you are and what are your priorities. So once you apply these two thumb rules of doing becoming aware of what you're buying and knowing your priorities of why you're buying, I think the mindset will slowly go into a direction where you can, without thinking much, can make choice very easily, like what works and what doesn't work. And of course, we all have to be aware of the greenwashing that happens around us, passing some product as green. So it's more important that we are more aware at this point in time before shopping.
And yeah, first of all, the change should come within us. So hence,
Yes, exactly.
when it comes within us, then we can take our mindset to other way, to a more eco-friendly way. So coming on to the next question, according to you, what changes are required in the present fashion industry in terms of sustainable fashion? And also where you will see bridge in the next 5 years?
Yeah, interesting. So it's very, first of all, it's a very good sign that more and more people are talking about sustainable fashion, and technologies are also evolving at a faster pace than maybe say 2 years back, where people are focusing more on these things. And it's also nice to see change makers like you who are already trying to bring out these things during your studies or something like that. So basically, sustainable fashion might change very radically. We never know what could happen in 5 years. But whatever it is, I personally feel that we cannot have a one size fits all solution. So everyone has to look for their local solutions or what suits their surroundings the better, or I mean, and whatever options are there, one must not really look for scalability all the time. So certain things have limitations. We need to accept that and go forward. Like for example, if somebody likes handmade or woven stuff, you cannot radically change it through technology and make it a power loom piece. So you have to respect and love that piece. So certain things are going to remain the same, but certain things, like for example, recycling of fabrics by disintegrating, polyester and cotton, these things might radically change. And coming to which, we would like to explore more materials. Like we just don't want to be limited to denim. And of course, we would like to explore more geographies where, balancing our carbon footprint in the first place.
Okay. So my next question is a bit tricky one. What would you be doing if you were not doing this?
Oh, I actually never thought about it. Uh, but yeah, I think have always been like a person who is very much interested in community developments or something. So I think I would, even if I was in my corporate job, for example, I would have actively engaged with some impactful organization who is doing some groundwork. Maybe somebody would have been doing which, and I would have helped them in getting more jeans, maybe.
Okay. So I think here we are on the end of the question round. But before ending the question round, I would like you to give a small message to our young change makers who are willing to contribute to this field.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, this is a very rare opportunity that we get to talk to the next generation, not generation, but next change makers. Yeah, I think first it is very important to, as I was mentioning, as a customer also, like what your priorities are. It is very, very important because when it comes to sustainability, you can, get easily lost. You might try to do everything so perfect that you might end up doing nothing. So there has to be one step at a time. At the same time, every step you take, you always have to judge whether your next step is better than the before one in terms of helping the environment. So, for example, there could be certain changes which unknowingly, if you don't really see the difference, might create a bigger problem than the existing one, right? Like this classic example of plastic cup versus a paper cup with a plastic lining, or you can easily get confused, like what is the right option, and then might think like, oh, reusable, or like that, glass, or the, so you have to start somewhere. Starting somewhere is important, and being true to what you're doing is very important. You might get carried away with, financial burdens, or you might get carried away with, lucrative offers of changing your philosophy altogether. So you have to be very clear where you're heading.
Yeah, I hope these words of Soumya ma'am will always be in our change makers' mind when they try to plan anything, so that their next step is better than their previous step. Okay, so moving on to the fun part of these sustained talks, that is the rapid fire round. So rapid fire round, I'll be asking you 5 questions, ma'am. So the first question, what sacrifices that you made for this band?
Sleepless nights.
Okay, who had been your role model in this journey?
I adore Vandana Shivaji. He has
Perfect.
been very consistent.
And your failures you faced while building this brand?
I think marketing to wrong audience, maybe.
Okay, describe sustainability using 3 words.
Uh, People, um, planet, inclusion.
Okay, and proud moments throughout the journey at which?
I think I'm happy when I spot my brand in a crowd. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is the most proudest moment, I guess.
Yes. Yes. And luckily, I got few instances to experience. So I really get a high.
Yeah, that makes so happy. Okay, ma'am. So this brings us to the end of this session. So before we end, we will take a few questions from our change makers now.
Yes.
So
Sure.
change makers, the platform is open for any doubts from your side. I think change makers have no questions, I guess.
Sure.
Come on,
They
change
can
makers.
always reach out
Yeah,
later as well.
yeah. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking your time to answer these questions. And
Yeah.
it was a
Thank you.
pleasure. It was a pleasure to have you with us today.
Same
And it's
here.
been great speaking with you and learning more about your sustainable journey. I'm sure our change makers have enjoyed this session and would like to congratulate you for working so actively for the sustainable future. But before this, I think the backend Mandar, can we have a presentation so
Yeah,
that
sure, sure.
the
Yeah.
participants can get more insights of our Soumya ma'am and her products?
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So,
Soumya ma'am, can you please?
Yes, sure. So, yeah, our products are available for retail, online. We also offer bulk solutions. So, and as he mentioned, like, which means second life. So basically, like I was explaining the procedure, we first buy our denim from different markets and then get them washed thoroughly. And since every denim will be of different size and shape, so everything has to be like, almost like a tailor-made cutting setup. And then they are upcycled into different products. So the checkered tote that you are seeing is part of our like, zero waste philosophy. Like we don't let any part go to waste. Yeah, you can go ahead. So these are some of our other bags like a sling and uh, some fashionable tote or a backpack.
The bags are so cool, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So we like it's not recent, but due to the pandemic, I would still say that it's recent. We launched a fanny pack last few months back, and then um, that other patchwork bag is also part of our zero waste collection. So these are like foldable, shopping bags that you can just carry in hand, or like for guys in the next one, if they keep it in the pocket or something. So like you don't have to forget that you have to carry something.
So this is a foldable. The last one is a foldable
Yes.
bag.
The last but one, both of them are foldable. So the last one is more of unisex, and the before one is like a little bigger tote. Where
Yeah, it looks so compact.
yes, yeah. So basically, these designs are available probably in plastic-based solutions, but we wanted to also give like upcycled solutions.
It's so good to see the the textiles or the garments which we're going to waste is used like this.
Yes.
That's a great. Okay, Mandar, we can have the sharing screen off now. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much that you
Yeah.
took your
Thank you
time.
very much.
Thank
Yeah.
you, ma'am. It was great having you for our Sustain Talks, and we'll stay in touch and have you as our channel partner now.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Soumya. It was